Hey, everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Angela. I am a full time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and this channel is dedicated to those of you that are just starting out in this wonderful world of voiceover, in the hopes that I can share with you some of my tips and tricks and techniques that I use every day. I've been helping a lot of people get started with their profiles on Fiverr, and it is a bit daunting. It's a bit especially with as inundated with people as it is, there are thousands of people on Fiverr, and to stand out and be competitive these days is harder than it has ever been. And so, one thing that I go over quite a bit with these people as I help them to build their Fiverr profiles and their gigs is I help them to just kind of step outside of the box. Now, when you're first starting out in voiceover, everything, well, back when I first started anyway, let me just say it was a lot different because you could pretty much do everything the same as someone else and be just fine and get, lots of work and be busy all the time. But for those of you that are just starting out now and just now getting a toe into the world of Fiverr, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to stand out amongst all of the already established voiceover artists. And one way to do this, to stand out, is, of course, to start at the $5 minimum price, which is pretty typical. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I know there might be some people who argue this point, but personally, for me, the algorithm is more like it's a strategy, the $5 price point. It's not undervaluing your work. You are more or less, for the $5 price point, you are more or less getting started, getting your foot in the door, so to speak. Because those first orders that you get are going to be very, very important because the algorithm also takes into account your customer service skills, how quickly you respond to a client or to a revision or to an order, and how well that client rates you when the order is done. And each of these clients that you submit and complete an order with are also going to get one of those secret surveys where Fiverr asks them, how do you really feel about this order? So all of that in the very beginning is much more important than that $5 price point. And once you start to get more orders and more clients and repeat clients, and you start to get really busy and you can't keep up, that is when you raise your prices. We've all done it. This is how we've all done it. It's not anything that is, and again, this is a point of contention for a lot of people. A lot of people will disagree with me, but this is my personal opinion. This is how I see it. This is how I was able to get to where I am. And I know a lot of other people have done the same. Do it as you see fit. And there's nothing that says that you have to start out at a $5 price point. You can start out at 10. You can start out at 15. Just know that in the beginning, it might be a little bit more difficult to get up to the top of page 1 without any kind of reviews or social proof or, any kind of customer satisfaction on Fiverr's end for you or from you. I hope that makes sense. But another way to do it is to completely step outside of the normal box of thinking or normal voiceover offerings. What I would recommend to do is to go into Fiverr, go into an incognito window, for instance, if you already have a profile, and just take a look around. Go through all of the different categories and think to yourself, could this particular category or offering, could this use a voiceover? How can I offer my skill set with this particular gig or this particular type of gig? And I've heard some really creative ones lately. I'm not going to share them with you because that wouldn't help the people who thought of it originally, but they were some pretty creative people that I've worked with over the last couple of weeks that have really stepped way outside the box and got really creative in coming up with a new gig idea for voiceover. But we're going to hop into Fiverr now and just take a look around just so I can show you what I mean. Okay, so I am in a incognito window for Fiverr. So we're just going to take a look around here. We're in the music and audio category for Fiverr. Now, as you can see, there are a lot of categories for just music and audio. Of course, there's voiceover, there's mixing and mastering, producers and composers, online music lessons, session musicians, singers and vocalists, beat making, podcast editing. I'm not going to read them all off, but audiobook production, sound design, vocal tuning, synth presets, remixing and mashup, meditation music, jingles and intros. There is a lot of different categories in just audio and video. But if we come over to video and animation, we have whiteboard and animated explainers, video editing, short video ads, character animation, e commerce product videos. So, for instance, as a voiceover artist, maybe I would like to take a look at e commerce product videos. I will create an awesome drop shipping video for your product. Could this type of product need a voiceover? Absolutely. What if this person doesn't offer a voiceover with their product video? What if it's just all video footage? That could be an interesting gig for Fiverr. I will narrate your e commerce product video. There's a voiceover idea right there. Here's another one. I will create an Amazon product demonstration video. What if this person doesn't offer voiceover for this particular gig? I'm not sure if they do or not. I'm just using them as an example. But could you offer a gig? I will voice over your Amazon product demonstration video. All right, so let's go back to the categories. Here's another one, slideshow videos. I couldn't think of a reason why a slideshow would not have a voiceover. Say you are creating a beautiful slideshow for a wedding or for someone's anniversary or for your mom's birthday or something like that. You could actually take someone's slideshow video, add music to it, add a nice voiceover to it. That would definitely be something to offer. I will voice over or I will be the voice of your slideshow video. All right, let's look a little bit more. Animation for streamers. Now, if you've ever watched anyone streaming in a video game, when every time they have a donation or a sub or, you know, someone in the chat or someone in the chat sends them a message, they usually have some sort of an animation on their screen. And sometimes they also have a sound. What if you could offer a voiceover that was for Twitch animation sounds? I will voice your Twitch animation sounds. You know what I mean? If you think outside of the general voiceover box, there's nothing that says that you can't make something very particular. It could be something that's very popular or not very popular. But the trick is using all of the proper keywords in your Fiverr gig description or in your title or your tags, you know, use some of these specific topics within your description, with your tags, or in your title to help funnel your gig into some of these more uncommonly tapped categories for voiceover, if that makes sense. There are hundreds of thousands of gigs on Fiverr. All I'm suggesting is take a look around at some of the different categories and ask yourself if a voiceover could complement this product or this gig. And then create a gig based on that product or gig or offering. You never know, you might end up having the corner of the market on that particular type of voiceover. But it helps you to stand out. It helps you to Perhaps be the only voiceover artist offering voiceover for that particular thing. You never know. But as more and more people are joining Fiverr, the more creative we're going to find ourselves having to be. The more and more we're going to have to step outside of that conventional voiceover box, and offer more than just commercials, just audiobooks, just e-learning, just, you know, video game characters. The typical voiceover box. Step outside of that box and really see if you can find a niche that is untapped. And you never know, you could be the only voiceover artist offering that type of gig and corner that niche market. So there is still a lot of opportunity on Fiverr if you can only step outside of that comfort zone or step outside of that conventional voiceover box. So even if you are just starting out in Fiverr, please do not be discouraged by all of the other people on there. There is still a lot of work to be found on Fiverr. I mean, by all means, still have your traditional voiceover gigs, have a general, I will be your American male, American female voiceover artist gig. Have one for video games, have one for audiobook narration if that's what you want to do. Whatever it is that you want to do in voiceover, have a gig for that. But maybe have one or two gigs that are outside the norm and see what happens. So I encourage you to get creative and have some fun with it and get started on Fiverr. So that is it for today's video. If you have any questions or comments for me, please leave them down below or send me an email. I love hearing from you guys. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe because why not? Thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.